I've heard so many stories about you before you came to this country, and of your Traviata at La Scala and so on, and things that you did in acting. And interestingly enough, one of the most enthusiastic reports was from a composer who certainly listened as a musician, if anybody would, and he was absolutely overwhelmed by your acting and your very original stage business in Traviata, particularly in the first act. I remember his describing you as singing A Forse Lui, sitting in front of the fire and gazing very pensively into the fire.
Yes, that's so.
Very, very quietly.
Well, we try to perform the opera as it would be in life, possibly to give the real impression. What would she do during this aria? You can't very well speak of such intimate thoughts in an open way. And I must say, I'm not the kind of artist, I think at least, that asks the public, please applaud me, I'm here, I did well.
Yeah.
You must applaud me. You know, these open gestures which call.
Yes, I know.
Well, I've always done everything to discourage that.
Well, because you're in your role.
Because that's what we're taught, that music must go on, it shouldn't be interrupted, and it should be played down, always, because the expression should be brought out. I remember also Serafine had told me one very precious thing. If you really want to find your movements, to find the staging, the composer has seen to that already. Listen hard to the music. Listen well to what we play, the orchestra plays, and you'll find all your gestures there. It's already done for you. In fact, if you think well, it is true.
And do you find that's true in the older operas as well?
Yes.
In Puccini
yes.
or Wagner, it's easy to see.
The stage director
Bellini?
was the composer then. They used to create it together with the words, together with the librettista. They used to create the staging, the passion. They used to create the opera.
Yes, but of
and
course...
they felt it. They used to sing. Bellini is famous for having sung the roles before. While he was doing a recitativo, he would sing the recitativo 10,000 times until he finally found what he wanted and how it would feel. They were the stage directors before us.
I suppose that's true.
Well, music is not composed only for the beauty of it. It has a reason. Every
Indeed
note
it
has
does.
a reason. Every phrase has a reason, stage-wise and expression-wise. Every word.
And do all these things come to
That
you
is why
out
we
of
must
music?
respect all the acciaccature, all the abbellimenti, because each composer put it there to express a particular emotion, particular expression of the heart, of the mind, staging, in other words. So you have to stage first with the voice, and then with the gesture, if necessary.
And he left it up to the singer somewhat to fill in, didn't
but
he?
he also, because singers then used to compose and do whatever they wanted just to make, show their voice off.
Yes.
And these poor composers would say, but please tell us what vocalizing you want, because we have a certain expression and a certain way of seeing things. Tell us what you want, which are your precious vocalizing. We will put it into our style and into our... stato d'animo, as they say, according to the role, whether it's dramatic or whatever it is. And each composer was very proud in keeping his own abbellimenti, his own style. So you see, in other words, when we perform, we have his responsibility. We must respect his way of seeing and feeling things. And they are not just anybody, they are famous composers. So we don't have to serve ourselves. The first person we serve is the composer.
Yes, that's certainly
According to that, you make what you think he would have wanted. You make that your own. According to his style, that's why you must be a little flexible in style. What is style? Well, it's according to your own good taste, but each and every composer has his own style.
your intuition.
Yes.
And do you find that...
well, that's a long study, though.
Of course.
With other maestri, with
course
devotion, with research, and with passion and love.
And do you find that your interpretation of the roles you love change over the years?
Well, not much. I mean, they can become more refined, or they can grow. But shall we say that immediately, when I look at a role, you can see nearly what it's supposed to be. I mean, you make... I don't know, I've never painted, or rather, was a sculptor, I can't say. But if I sculpted, I think that what they would do is mold nearly to something. For instance, I don't know if it's a queen, well, they'd mold what year would it be, what epoch, and they would mold a crinoline, or they would mold a classic thing, something like the original. And then they would go into the details of the face, of the neck, how the expression would be, what the folds of the dress, if the dress would be large or small. But the nearly immediate mold would be immediately done.
Yes.
Then you refine it, and you fill it in, and you make the eyes, and you make the details. But immediately you should know what it's all about.
Certainly, the basic things. But I often wonder when I've heard you, for example, sing something, and suddenly that particular phrase has been like a revelation. And I said, oh, so that is what Bellini meant, or that is what Verdi meant at this point.
Well, we try hard. I don't know if
Does
I've
this
succeeded.
ever happen to you, when you say you sometimes sing a role differently, or your action is a little different?
Because,
is this a new understanding that comes to you at the moment?
Did you mean, I don't know what you mean exactly by each role. You mean each role or each performance different?
Each
performance.
No, there are slight changes.
Yes, there are slight changes, but it's always within the style. It's always within the personaggio. It can't change. It must be in a straitjacket, but there is a certain freedom.
Yes.
In other words, you cannot make 2 steps up front, 1 step behind, it be like a robot. You can't do that. Then it's not art. But within this, shall we say, square box, you can't move out of that square box. But in the meantime, you can go around in the room. But it has to be that particular room, which means square or round or oval, which is the capacity of a composer.
Yes. But now tell me, when you're working with, as you have...
You're free up to a certain point, of course.
Up to a certain point.
Yes.
But supposing you have worked with many very great conductors and great stage directors, have you ever felt that a given role was oval when somebody else thought it was square? Have you had
Not
a
really.
clash
I've never
of interpretations
had
this way?
Never had any clash, frankly.
Is that so?
Never had any clash.
That's extraordinary, because sometimes even our most brilliant stage directors have a wild inspiration and go off on what seems to me to be a tangent.
Well, I don't
this doesn't
let them.
happen.
No, in fact, I don't think they're inspired with wild intentions. I think that when I'm around, at least I ask them, and I said, "Well, don't I excite you for exotic things?" And they say, "No, because when we have you on stage, the less you have around you, the better it is."
They don't
They
need
leave it
any
to me.
gadgets.
That's right.
See,
that was their answer.
Yes. In other words, it means that they feel that you get to the core of the role, and they don't have to fuss around with it.
They don't like to fuss around with me on stage, and I don't think one needs it. I mean, the less frustrated a role is, the better it is, unless it's supposed to portray a frustrated part.
Ah, yes.
You see, there's always a reason to a part.
There is indeed.
She is that, she is the other, she is the other. Now, then you can go into details, but it is square cut, or oval, or whatever it is. It is one certain form from the beginning.